What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video, and today we're talking about the Legend of Zelda 35th anniversary, probably one part in a series of videos that I will be doing leading up to the big 2021 Zelda activities. Now, I know what some of you guys are saying, wait a minute, Nintendo hasn't announced anything, and yes, I do know that, but you know good and well, especially starting with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, that Nintendo is setting the tone early for what's going to be going down in 2021, especially with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 or the sequel. I think they want to have a big celebration for The Legend of Zelda, and I think there's going to be some awesome stuff leading up into it. So, Legend of Zelda 35th anniversary next year, 2021. I want to go over just real quickly my favorite Legend of Zelda games. I know I've talked about this before, but I won't take too long on it. And for me, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is my favorite Zelda game of all time. Now, my previous favorite Zelda game of all time was The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. That was my previous favorite. I absolutely loved everything about the Wind Waker. I mean, there were some issues here and there, but they fixed a lot of that in The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. And then I also like Twilight Princess. That's probably like my third. Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time. Like, those are like tied for the third. But those are pretty much my favorite Legend of Zelda games. Now, I've played pretty much every single Legend of Zelda game. And to be honest, most of them, or pretty much all of them, are good. There aren't very many bad ones, with like the exception of like the CDI games, but I don't count those. But for the most part, most Legend of Zelda games are actually really good and fun. So it's not a knock if you didn't hear me talk about your favorite Legend of Zelda game, that it wasn't in like my top 3 or top 4 or whatever. But either way, I'm excited to see what happens next with Legend of Zelda. Breath of the Wild was just a huge influence on me. I just loved everything about Breath of the Wild, so I'm really excited to kind of talk about this today. So let's talk about what Nintendo's plans could be for the 35th anniversary. And I think most people are probably saying, okay, where's The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD? Where's The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD? I think those are the two games that everyone is saying, yo, we need to put these on the Nintendo Switch. And I think it's very possible that we see a double pack for The Legend of Zelda and Twilight Princess. You get both of them in one package for 60 bucks, a la Bayonetta 1 and Bayonetta 2. I think that Nintendo's probably going to do that. They have a nice little split artwork cover where you have Wind Waker and then you also have Twilight Princess. It pretty much just sells itself. And for 60 bucks, and yes, some people will complain because they're not remakes and they're not packaged together and completely remade with Foley, graphics, this and that for $40 like Crash Bandicoot. But oh well, this is probably what they're going to be doing. They're not going to completely remake Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD and also Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. They're just not going to do that, so we're probably going to get that for $60. Now, there is always a possibility of some type of triple pack with Ocarina of Time, but I'm guessing that they're probably going to want to do maybe Ocarina of Time 3D and Majora's Mask together in some type of way, or a digital release or something on the eShop. Maybe you get those upgraded games or something like that. So that's just what I'm guessing. Now, like I said, there still could be some type of triple pack with Wind Waker and also with Twilight Princess, but who knows on that one. Now, the last thing that I think when it comes to bringing back some of these old games, and this one's a little bit of a stretch, is that there's a triple pack with The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, and also The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. And there's probably not going to be that, but I guess it's always a possibility, right? Because 2 out of 3 of those games already in HD, so it wouldn't be too hard to kind of just port those ones over. But Skyward Sword would be the big one because that game was completely built for motion controls, and more importantly, completely built for the Wii Motion Plus. So it wasn't just built for like waggle controls like The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess was, where you can just kind of shake and then Link swings the sword in whatever way in pre-canned animations. That one actually tracked everything when it comes to your movement. So that would be hard to replicate with the gyro on the Switch in terms of how that works. So I'm not exactly sure what they can do with that. I think they'd probably have to split it up, and Skyward Sword would have to be completely reworked from a control standpoint to be functional on the Switch. Now, is it possible? Of course it's possible. Could Nintendo figure out some weird way to do it with the Pro Controller or with the split Joy-Cons and working with gyro? Yeah, they probably could figure out something. Would it be the best way to play it? Maybe, maybe not. But there definitely would need to be some serious reworking if they wanted to make a unique version for the Nintendo Switch. They'd have to do something. Now, I did have a video a while back saying that it's possible because of all the rumors that were popping up out of nowhere, but at the same time, when you go through and you kind of look how some of these Wii games are being handled on the Switch, especially with Super Mario Galaxy, for example, it's like, okay, yeah, there would definitely have to be some retooling of what they had to do with that. Like I said, it's not impossible. Developers have been able to retool all sorts of games that you thought might not work or might not run or might not look good or whatever the case is on the Switch, so I wouldn't put it past them at all. I just think that it would definitely take a bit of effort, more than what you'd see, of course, with something like The Legend of Zelda, Wind Waker, or Twilight Princess. Now, let's talk about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, because I think that's pretty much what the big thing is for the anniversary, would be, hey, we're launching this brand new Legend of Zelda game. It is a planned trilogy now at this point with the original Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. You have Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity beforehand, that's coming out very soon here, and then of course the finale that I would guess would be Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, or the sequel to it. So I've never seen a trilogy put together in such a compact way. It's actually pretty awesome, right? Because Breath of the Wild, the original, didn't come out too long ago, 2017 for that one. So it's really cool. It almost feels like they snuck in something else, like a sequel or another game. So we got 3 games in a very short amount of time, right? In about 4 years, right? 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. Of course, if it does launch then, so yeah, 3 games in 4 years, which is not bad, and all of them are going to be really good quality too. So I do like that about it, but Breath of the Wild 2 is obviously the big centerpiece of everything. I think for the 35th anniversary, I think that this game, Nintendo is really taking their time to make sure that it's the best that it can be. They've got Monolith Soft working on this one, in addition to a bigger team that we do know about that is heading up with Mr. Anuma. So I think that it's very, very cool that everything is kind of playing out the way that maybe Nintendo envisioned it with like Legend of Zelda and Breath of the Wild. I'm pretty sure they were probably like a little worried with COVID and how big the team is and how secretive they are, because we've had no real leaks for the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 yet, which is crazy, right? We've had no real leaks for it at all, so they're really secretive. So the fact that they've been able to work from home and still keep everything under wraps is definitely kudos to them. But I can't wait to see what they have for us, because Age of Calamity is already getting me hyped to experience and kind of get back into the Breath of the Wild feeling, and now we're going to have this game to kind of top it off, so I'm excited about that. Now, I do want to mention one more thing before the end of this video. Like I said, this will probably be a series of videos, so look out for more videos where we talk about more Legend of Zelda stuff. I do think a lot of the classic games, for example, like Zelda 2, the original Legend of Zelda, all of those games, you know, we already kind of have those, so that's pretty cool. But maybe there's something else. Maybe there's a physical version of those games that come out that are all in one collection, kind of like how Nintendo did on the GameCube, which, if you guys don't know, there were some collector's editions for Legend of Zelda games on the GameCube. One of them came with the Ocarina of Time and the Master Quest. The other one came with like Zelda 1, Zelda 2, and a bunch of other Zelda games as well, plus some demos and everything. So it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. So maybe they do something like that for all the classic games and release that, like a limited physical release of something like that, which would kind of be like what they did with Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Not really sure what they'll do, but it's always a possibility, guys. You know, I'm just kind of going over different ideas. Not saying that they will do that. I'm just saying it's always a possibility. But I do feel like the double pack with Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, that's probably our best bet in terms of classic games coming over. I feel pretty confident about something like that happening. And then, of course, the big one would be Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. But another thing that could be interesting is to see what they do maybe with like the eShop and a unique Legend of Zelda game. Like, for example, we're getting that Mario 35th. It's like a Battle Royale 2D Mario game. Maybe they program something like that for the Nintendo Switch Online and have that for Zelda's 35th anniversary. I think that would be kind of cool too. So you never know, right? So we'll see if there's anything like that as well. So what are you guys' thoughts when it comes to the Legend of Zelda 35th anniversary? What do you think they're going to be planning for 2021? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Check out the links in the description. We've got Twitter. Go to give us a follow on there. Stay up to date on all latest gaming news and information. Also, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you can. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.